Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. It's Dafan again, and this is episode 7 of our series of vlogs for Indonesian learners of English. And I have a guest with me. It happens to be my daughter Rianti, and actually she's here because I love her and she's great. But she's also an example of a second culture kid. We're talking today about biculturalism and bicultural experiences. And Rianti I'm British, and also my mother is Welsh, my father is English. Rianti's mother is Indonesian, half Javanese, half Sundanese, so we've got quite a mixture here. And I've asked Rianti to talk about her experiences as if you like, a second culture kid, the advantages and the disadvantages of both, of being both British and Indonesian, how it melds together, any challenges for the future, any advice we have for our listeners, our viewers out there. So, Rianti, do you think your heritage as a second culture child with two cultural backgrounds was advantageous in any way? Any things that you think, in a way, gives you an edge over people who just brought up in one culture?
I think there are certain advantages and disadvantages for every situation, right? And as a second culture kid, as you said, I think I experienced some advantages and also some disadvantages. So some advantages, I think I grew up pretty open-minded because you and mom came from different cultures. So, you know, I grew up with, different perspectives and, a sense that it was okay to have different perspectives, that you could still sit at the same table and have different opinions and different customs, but still kind of come together. And because you enrolled me in an international school, I was kind of exposed to different cultures, and that, it was okay to be different.
Yes, right.
Unity and diversity, if you will. And after I graduated and as I entered the entertainment industry, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I think perhaps there was some privilege of being mixed, because at the time it was something the industry was looking for.
Yes.
But sometimes I feel a bit guilty about that, because I don't think my look represents, most, of the faces we see here in daily life. So as I grow older, I'm starting to rethink that, right? And having this, what would you call it, that like unconscious privilege, right? And kind of doors would open for me that I guess easier than perhaps for other people who didn't look like me.
And it's not really fair.
It isn't fair.
We're aiming towards, in the world, I think, a much fairer appreciation of all looks, all races.
Absolutely.
Everything is beautiful.
Absolutely. And as again, I'm 40 now, so as I grow older, now that I have a daughter, I'm really liking this new kind of body positivity that the next generation has embraced.
Exactly.
I think, especially the women in Indonesia, they are much more proud of how they look, regardless of how they look. If you have curly hair or straight hair, light skin or darker skin. One thing I kind of regret, perhaps, when I was younger, is accepting jobs for like whitening products.
Yes.
Now that I think about it, I think it's so wrong.
Yes.
And I was really young, and I'm not excusing this, I'm not justifying it, but when you're young, you just want to be financially independent. So you take a job. Oh, it's a good brand. Ooh, this is great. But then, as you grow older, and you start thinking about like, why would I don't think that's right. I think you should embrace the skin that you're born in.
I remember saying
that everything is beautiful.
Yes, exactly.
And even I'm an Indonesian Like I really feel Indonesian. I mean, obviously, I love the British side of me as well. I appreciate it. But you know, my name is Rianti. I was born in Bandung. You know, I really yeah. We'll get back to it. It's kind of you know, sometimes being mixed, sometimes you feel like you don't know where home is. Like no, but apa namanya? Yeah, you know, like you know, I grew up in my grandmother's house for the first few years of my life, right? And yeah, they would call me bule, terus suka dicubit, you know. I mean yeah, you know, whatever. It's okay, but you do kind of feel like, oh, am I different? You know, why am I not like, you know, my neighbors? But then, say when I go to the UK, I don't feel like I fit in completely either, right? So it's just something you have to live with, right?
Talking about that, is there anything really British in your makeup, in your inheritance, that you find advantageous or challenging?
Well, yeah, I remember. I don't know, it's a controversial. No, you know, I mean, I remember when I still held a British passport. I'm now Indonesian. You know, sometimes traveling was easier. You know, getting visas was easier. But I actually think now that I'm an Indonesian citizen, I'm actually very proud of where Indonesia is going. I'm proud of our nation. I think now sudah dianggap, you know, like I think more people are being more proud of being.
Yes, I was coming on to
our culture.
Indonesian.
It's just such a rich culture, and you know, so many aspects of being Indonesian is, I feel, advantageous. And
surely
something to be proud of. But then again, like when you're mixed, you're proud of both. You know, you want to embrace both, and sometimes people make you choose, and you're like, why can't I be both? Like I have, you know, both bloodlines, you know, running through my veins. But as I said, there's advantages and disadvantages, and there are things that, as I said, I regret it now that I'm older and I have a little girl. You know, I'm really happy with how.
Yes, it's definitely getting better.
Yeah, it's getting better, and there's more representation now. You see in the entertainment industry so many different faces, so many different skin colors, and everybody's just celebrating the skin they're born in, even the body type. You know, when I was in the entertainment industry in my early years, you know, people would say, oh, you know, you need to lose a little weight, or you know, and then when I look back at my pictures, like I was skinny. But people were still telling me to lose weight, right? So I don't think that would fly in this day and age. So I think, you know, progress is being made in baby steps, right?
I agree. I've noticed it. As you know, I first came to Indonesia in 1971, and I've been here more or less permanently since you were born. Actually,
you're more Japanese than a Japanese.
That's what my friend, I have a good friend, he was kind of saying, I wouldn't say guru, but a guide to me, and he said, oh, Daphne's more Japanese than the Japanese. But there are a lot of things in common. Our two nations have a sense of humor. You know, my wife Sri she has this great Sundanese sense of humor, a lot of irony, very subtle. You know, loves coming to like Kang Bing, if you people still remember him. And the same with the Brits. We're always joking, we're always laughing. And if you don't have a sense of humor in Britain, you know, it's rather strange, you know.
It's a very specific type of humor.
It is, all right.
No, I mean, no, I think I share that same sense of humor, but, you know, not everybody laughs.
Well, I hope it's not, I don't think it's cruel. It's not like laughing at somebody falling.
No, it's not like
it's very subtle, yes.
It can be dark.
Yes, well, in life there's a darkness. The goths are always around, I guess. But again, that's good. think I was talking in one of the previous, one of my poems about how you get this, like a Gothic tingle. It's a poem about a place where is on the border and amidst this crepuscular twilight feeling. And it's a structure built in the Dark Ages, which no one knows much about. It's called Wattstack. And you stand there at twilight and you get this lovely tingle, which is not unpleasant.
Yes.
So life is very subtle, and if we can just be quiet, and we can enjoy.
Be more into.
Oh yes, this very subtle aspects of life, but that's a little bit too esoteric, possibly. Esoteric. Yes, I'm very nervous, of course. Because, oh dear, this celebrity. Right. That's what I'm talking about. Yes, and I was going to ask you that about anything, especially Indonesian, that you're proud of, and you just answered my question.
Yeah.
Now,
I think you don't, I don't, maybe you don't even, you don't realize how Indonesian you are until you're abroad.
Yes,
It's just the subtle things you do.
Yes.
What is that, intrinsic form of communication? Just, how you communicate, what is considered offensive and what is not. But even that, it varies from subculture to culture, right?
Yes.
I'm Sundanese and Javanese. And say Cass, my husband is Batak, and they're completely different, right? So there's the nuances, right, to every culture.
Just like the Welsh and English. The Welsh are very like Indonesians in the sense of family.
Yeah.
Like all of Wales is one big family. Whereas the whereas your Englishman, his home is his castle. He will see somebody every morning. After 5 years, he will say hello. 5 years.
Not all.
Not all, but these are extremes. But we need the world is like a salad, isn't it?
Yes.
And we need all these
salad
parts.
bowl. Yeah, so that's the politically correct term now, is a salad bowl. Because a melting pot implies that everybody needs to be uniform.
Or a salad bowl.
Salad bowl. So it's still, everybody's still themselves, but they come together.
That's true,
to
yes.
create this.
Some bits masala spicy and some juicy, and all right. Lovely.